So I'm David Spencer, and I grew up in a military family, and my father flew combat missions in Vietnam. We moved all over the world, but everywhere we went, one truth never changed. You serve the people, you do not serve yourself, and you sure don't serve the system. That's something that I believe, and that's something I've lived. So let me ask you something. When was 67% tax increase not enough? When did the people of Utah County say, hey, I want 48% more taxes? They didn't. But the commissioners took it anyway. While your property taxes were going up, their salaries are going up from $117,000 to $170,000 in 5 years. That's not public service. That's self-service, and it has to stop. I know how to stop it because I've done it before. When I served on the Orem City Council along Mayor Young, we inherited the same kind of establishment-driven, closed-door frustration. We made a decision. We're going to open it up, clean it up, and give it back to the people, and we delivered. We built a transparency portal. We made every vote, every dollar fully public. We launched a strategy innovation team. We went department by department and cut waste. We wrote grants aggressively with no strings attached. We brought in $23 million for Orem taxpayers without raising taxes. We made government work for families, not for the establishment or insiders. I'm David Spencer, and hope I can gain your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Man, right on the second, so thank you for that. Appreciate that. Isaac, are you okay giving an opening statement as well then during this time? I originally said just introductions, but if you'll take 90 seconds and provide a little...
I'll start talking.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. My name is Isaac Paxman, and like so many people in this valley, I do have this desire to serve. In the last several years, I really kind of made that a conscious decision. My son passed away within that time period, and it's a time of reflection, and realized more than ever, I want to leave this world a better place somehow. I want to spend my time not just ensuring I enjoy myself, but that somehow the world is better that I was here. And that's been a driving force in some ways throughout my life. It partly stems from my heritage, my ancestry. I am a 7th generation Utah County resident through 3 lines. And some of them were very active in public service. A great-great-grandmother is one that stands out, Axa Paxman, who served in the Utah State Legislature. Her husband was a businessman and supported her doing that, getting on the train and going up to the legislature. And I think that's wonderful. And I've always wanted to honor that family heritage, and had the chance for the last 8 years to serve in local government. My background is in law. I have a degree from Georgetown and one from BYU Law, and served at the U.S. Department of Justice, served as a clerk to a federal judge, and then had my own practice and started my own small business here in Utah County doing that. But when the chance came to serve in local government, I jumped at it and was told by many I was really good at it, and they encouraged me to run for this. So that's a little bit of my story. I'm a husband and a father, and my name is Isaac Paxman. Appreciate your support.
Thank you, Isaac. So for the benefit of you all, we had provided topics and questions to each of our candidates prior to tonight's gathering. And so they've had a chance to kind of review those questions, and then as moderators, we've also huddled on which questions and topics we'd like to cover. And if I'm not mistaken, Harvey, I think you lead us out with the first question.
Okay, so I've got a question for you, Curtis. There are 3 questions here, and we've got a time limit of 1 minute 30 seconds.
Okay.
So how do we want to do that?
Which one of that question?
Number 1.
Number 1?
So you've got basically 3 questions.
Okay, which one do you want to ask the most?
All of them.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. I'm just going to ask you a question, and then you guys can answer that, and then we'll go to the next question, but there's 3 of them. Number 1, why are you running for commissioner?
Would you like to go first?
Isaac, please.
I'm running for commissioner, kind of the background I shared. I want to serve. And for the last 8 years, I was doing basically this job. I was running departments. I was dealing with HR issues. A lot of the county commissioner role is not really legislative, it's executive, and that's the role I was in, working through issues, going to the legislature and getting big things done. And so, although I have a great situation, I'm an assistant attorney general, and I'd be happy to continue doing that. I will be able to do more service, do more good in this capacity, and want to do that.
Yeah, so the reason I'm running is the 48% tax increase and the 67% tax increase we had in 2019. Also the pay increases. We have to get, I believe that the county commissioner, we're way off track. We're ready to fly into a mountain. We need to do a course correction. And I think with my experience on the city council for 12 years, I've done that. You know, I understand how to cut the fat. I don't want big government, I want small government. And we need to make sure that we work for the citizens and also for the businesses of Utah County.
Thank you. Second question, what makes you different from the other candidate on the stage? And we'll start with you, David.
Okay, so I have a plan, and I've got 6 or 7 things on my flyer that it says exactly what I want to do. For one, I want to do a transparency portal we did in Orem. What that transparency portal is, it'll be on the website. Everyone will see exactly how I voted. Am I attending my meetings? I think we have a problem with that on the current commission. And how did I vote? Very key. Am I traveling foolishly on taxpayers' dollars? That's the problem I'm seeing. There's a $20,000 travel budget, and they're going to Washington, D.C. You're a Utah County commissioner. You stay in Utah County or you go to the state legislature. That's why you have congressmen and senators to go to Washington, D.C.
It's that I've done essentially this role again. I've had to do the kinds of things a county commissioner should be doing, getting assets from the state to spend on regional things. We set out to raise $11 million on a project of regional significance, and ended up between federal, county, state, without any tax increases. These are just existing buckets of money with hundreds of millions put in. It's the Provo Airport, which has increased quality of life and the economy. And that was built, that terminal was built with no debt. So I've been able to take these ideas, a visionary idea or see a big problem, and actually run it through as a full-time local elected, it's not elected, local government official. And through that I have connections. I have lots of people who have already had to work through these kinds of issues, regional issues, getting the support and going and getting big things done.
Thank you. And the final question, you've kind of already answered this, David, and we'll start with you, Isaac. But do you have a signature project or initiative that you feel like you are uniquely qualified to champion?
Utah Lake needs a champion. I've attended Utah Lake Commission and Utah Lake Authority meetings for 8 years. And there's a lot of people who catch the vision, but we could use a county commissioner to really rise up and lead on that thing. If we were to do that 20 years from now and we have a great pristine lake, we would all look back and go, why didn't we do that sooner? Let's get rid of the carp, let's do all those things, and let's get this to where it's the thing we all talk about. We've got the mountains, we've got the businesses, we've got education, we've got so many things. Let's turn the corner on the lake, and I think I can really help with that.
I think the transparency portal is key, also the strategy innovation, but I think the key thing for Utah County is, on the 12 years on the city council, not once did I have a county commissioner come to Orem and say, what are your needs? I want to go to all 24 cities in Utah County, meet with the mayor, the council, and the community and say, what are your needs? Once we know what their needs are, then we can all be on the same page. Utah County, we're fragmented. We're all doing the separate things. We need to get on the same page so we are one. And once we're one, then we can go to the state legislature and fight for the money that's going to Davis County, because that's where the leadership is in the legislature. So I will go to bat, and if we're asking for money for Charlie Kirk trial, it should not be the administrator, it should be the county commissioners getting their butt up there and doing their job.
Thank you both.
I have the next question, and that is, Utah County is known for being a business-friendly county. In fact, the state of Utah, a business-friendly state. But there are forces at play that would take away that uniqueness from our region. What will each of you do to preserve and protect the quality of life and ensure that Utah County continues to be a good place to run a business? We'll start with David on this one.
Okay, so we are in Family City USA, Orem, right? So we are Family City County, right? And I think we need to make sure we keep the integrity of our neighborhoods. And that's the problem I see, that the outside influencers are coming in, they're trying to take that away from us. So you have to stand strong and make sure that Utah County is family friendly, but also business friendly, because the businesses, that's our economic engine for Utah County. And if we kill it, what happened? That you're going to kill the goose that lays the golden egg. So we need to make sure that we are business friendly and that we can attract the businesses, because if you don't have businesses, you don't have the tax dollars, what happens? You sink.
Thank you. Isaac.
And I've done just that sort of thing. As we had to work on the Provo Airport, we started a business alliance. And so we brought in everyone from Sundance to Silicon Slopes to other businesses and even our educational institutions. So those connections are there and that drive is there and those discussions have already been begun. And we can just continue to work together, collaborate. We need to use the tools that are there to help businesses when they're right. There are tools, whether it's, financing tools or others. As David said, we do need to have a strong business. I'm a full believer in that. And I think you look at the success we had in our city during our run, we were a great city to do business in. So that's Provo, and we did great at that. So I'll continue those efforts.
Stacy, I think that segues quite well into question 6 that you have.
Yeah, thank you. You've talked a little bit, David, about growth. This one will be for Isaac first, but tell us how should Utah County manage growth and be intentional in that management while preserving the character, as we mentioned, of our existing neighborhoods and communities?
Well, it's going to take, not a single roadmap. It's going to be case by case basis. I'm a big believer in open space. I'm a big believer in agriculture. We're a strong agricultural county. We should preserve that. I've been down to Goshen and other cities in the South, and I love what we have there. And I don't think there's anyone who has a vision that we're concrete jungle edge to edge. And so we need to be deliberate about that. We need to talk to the local community. Thankfully, from a city background, we know that we work with cities, that cities will be closest to that, and we'll support cities doing what they think is best for their areas. We need all types of land use in our county. We need mansions. We do. We need to have places for those people to live so that they want to have their businesses here. And we need some places with smaller lots and that type of thing, and we need agriculture, and we need open space for recreation. So I wish I had a cleaner one soundbite answer, but it's going to be case by case and thoughtful to preserve what we have and grow as we need to.
Thank you. I think the main thing there is you need to make sure that you go to the legislature and to Governor Cox and say you need to stay in your lane because they're taking the rights and the privileges away from the cities and the counties, and they don't know what's best for the cities. We need to keep Orem as Family City USA. We need to keep the other cities the way they are because that integrity is very key to me, and I think big government, as I'm talking about, they're telling us how to do things. We need to keep our orchards and our agricultural, but we need to do what's best for the citizens of Utah County, bottom line. And I'm here to fight for the citizens and work hard for it.
Very good. Did you have a follow-up, or
No, but I could go on to the next question.
why don't you?
Okay. This one is focused more on your fiscal responsibility as a commissioner. As the county faces future funding needs, what solutions would you pursue to balance the budget and fund essential services? I think that's David first.
Well, I mean, for one thing, the strategy innovation team will go into the county and go to every department and make sure we turn everything upside down because right now, I don't think they're efficient. In Orem, we did that. We saved $1.7 million in the city of Orem. What can we do in the county? That's where the starting point is. It isn't to raise taxes and all that stuff to keep paying for the police and the fire. You need to make sure that you are self-efficient and be able to not raise taxes. The problem with taxes is you're killing businesses because businesses don't get a discount, so you're going to be almost 2 times the rate of a normal homeowner. So we need to make sure that we're very careful to make sure that we are doing what's right for the Utah County.
Yeah. On the ground, full-time experience doing this, we would find out that there was a $3 million budget shortfall for the year. And the commitment was we're not going to propose a tax increase. And so instead, we'd take the months of meetings it took to go find wise ways to cut in ways that would not harm efficiency, increase efficiency, not harm any individual. We didn't just fire for the sake of firing, but if we had turnover, we saw if there's ways we could be more efficient. So someone who's done that year after year, I've done that. And then how do we, at the same time, fund massive generational projects? Wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, an airport, by going and finding outside funding and actually getting $50 million from the federal government for a water treatment plant and water storage. That was great. So those are the kind of efforts we do, not looking for the taxpayers, but looking for outside funds.
Thank you. I'll take the next question, and it is really something I think you all felt making your way here, and that's transportation infrastructure. I don't know what's happened in the last 18 months, but the roads are much more congested than I can ever remember. How will each of you address traffic congestion and transportation needs as Utah County continues to grow? And I mean, we like our cars. I know I like mine. But what's a long-range plan? What is your vision for transportation? David, we'll start with you.
Well, I think infrastructure and transportation are a key thing in Utah County. If you go out to Eagle Mountain, I was out there the other day, they have 26,000 homes that are permitted and have been built. That's just gridlock. So you need to work with MAG and UDOT and the state legislature to make sure we are getting the funding we need from the state legislature. If it's all going to Davis County, that's wrong. We need it in Utah County. But another thing too on transportation, it's your first and last mile. You got to figure out how to get from your cities to the I-15. I mean, I-15 is messed up because every exit we build, Pleasant Grove or Lehigh, they're broken before they even open, right? So we're not building correctly. So we need to make sure that we have a strategy and we're on the same page and make sure that we do it right.
Thank you. Isaac?
Well, and a lot of people will say, gee, I don't use the train, so I'm not a fan of that. I applaud the legislature for funding the double tracking. That's going to take the train from every 30 minutes to every 15. What that's going to do is make it so you don't have to worry about the schedule. Right now, you have to worry about the schedule because you don't want to sit at a train station for 30 minutes. But if it's every 15 minutes, that's going to be a game changer. So I applaud that type of thing. And you could say, well, again, I don't use it, but that keeps people off the road. So you look at those people on the train and you say, those would be cars on the road. So that's a benefit. And so, yeah, we have to do these things. I've been going to MAG meetings for 8 years, know these players, know the legislature, have been able to get funding. We do need to get more funding and get our fair share down here, and I think I'm poised to help with that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Harvey, this might be a good segue to talk about resourcing, natural resources and energy even.
There's a reason why I asked Curtis to say that I'm a farmer, because I have a farm down in Genola, and I love it. And my kids are down there with me. My wife's down there with me. We moved there for a reason. And we also are pro-growth, which is interesting, right? So we saw over the weekend this city council meeting that happened up in Brigham City, and all the things around data and data centers and energy and all the stuff that comes with development. And so we have natural resources are limited in Utah. Growth seems to be unlimited. At least it feels that way. So what is your plan about how do we continue to create a desirable place to live, but also accommodate development? Please. Yeah, thanks.
Well,
and this is I think one of the hardest questions of the night, to be honest, because it's kind of a hot topic. And you've got data centers, and you've got a water problem, you've got a power problem, you've got energy issues.
Yeah.
How are we going to do it?
And I one of my favorite things on this campaign early on, I went into a Genola City Council meeting. If you want to do something charming, go to their fire station, to their city council meeting on card tables. That thing is amazing. But also went to Santa Quinn, where they're talking about a data center. And the reason in Brigham City they're doing it is because it's going to double their tax revenue. And so there's a lot of excitement for it, but I talked to someone who was up at there protesting because they don't want to take away water. And so these are tough issues. And the one thing I would say there is it sounds like they didn't do a great job of involving the community early on and just took a vote, and it was kind of a mess there. So you've got to involve people and make sure they come along for the ride the best you can. In Provo, we were able to find revolutionary ways to recharge the aquifer and help with water that way, to preserve natural resources in a way that uses nature's storage system. And so we have to be creative and think big and do everything we can to balance it all. I wish I could answer better, but that's the hot mess we got to figure out.
Yep, thank you.
Well, I think my main concern is water, and we need water to live. And if the data centers are coming and taking our water, we need to be very careful and go slowly, because what I saw up there in Box Elder, I thought that was a tragedy that they didn't include the citizens. And all of a sudden they just voted. Shame on them. They should have pulled back and said, stop. Let's step back. Let's get all the information to the citizens, because if the citizens don't have information and you're withholding stuff, that's wrong. They need to have all the information so they can make decisions for themselves. But my thing is, with growth, we need to really pump the brakes, I think, and I think our infrastructure is key. We need to catch up our infrastructure or we'll never get ahead. So the 26,000 building lots in Eagle Mountain, we have to pump the brakes a little bit. Let's get our infrastructure going, because if not, you'll never catch up It'll be great luck. You're not going to be in Happy Valley anymore. You're going to be in Sad Valley or Crappy Valley. And that's what we need to change. We need to keep Happy Valley, bottom line. So we need commissioners that will go to the legislature and fight for dollars for Utah County, period. We need to get the transportation dollars because it doesn't matter if you go to Salt Lake City at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., it's the same traffic going there and coming back. So we need help.
Thank you.
You know, another trend I've been noticing also in the last 18 months is those that are experiencing homelessness. And I don't know what we can do about it. I know that I sit in circles in meetings in Salt Lake as well, and they think we just ship our homeless to them. What plans might you have to address a growing homelessness issue? And perhaps you might even touch base regarding mental health issues, and because I think they kind of go hand in hand. Isaac, would you take that question first? And that is, clearly, we've seen rising rates of homelessness. How do you plan to address these topics in Utah County?
The way I've been doing for a long time. When I heard there was going to be a mandate to have to house the homeless in Utah County in the legislature's way, I was the leading voice to rally all of the Utah County cities to help fight that, and was a leading voice up at the legislature speaking out against it. And once they mandated it, I was tasked to go figure out how we could meet the mandate so that they wouldn't put a Salt Lake-type permanent shelter here. So worked for months, meeting with pastors, I was the vice chair of the task force on this. And we worked through it in a way that would work for Utah County and make sure we didn't get a homeless shelter plopped down here like Salt Lake has. So I've got those connections. I've had to sweat it out, work it out, talk it out, and we've done so in a way that got a national award. And works for the sheriff's office, works for the police chiefs, works for the service providers. And our vision was, we'll be the best place if you want to change your life, but if you're going to keep doing drugs, we'll be the worst place on the planet. That was our vision, and it's been a great one.
Thank you. David.
I think we need to be a little nicer in Utah County, but my goal is I want to go to every city and talk to every mayor, council, and citizens and see exactly what their goals are and what they need. We need to come together as a community and be able to help the homeless find places for housing. And the mental problem, we need to make sure, I know that on the jail they have a wing now that they're just building to facilitate those people that are incarcerated, that they can have help before they get out. But my bottom line is, it's a problem, and I think it's a national problem, but I think we can do things differently in Utah County if we come together and become one. That's the key. And we can work together and make sure we have a solution for the homeless. One thing, too, is the task force that we have for the police, for the drug task force, we need to make sure we keep that financed so that drugs coming up I-15, we keep them out of our neighborhood, because that's where it starts, and then people get hooked, and then we're in trouble.
Okay, thank you. Stacy will field the next question.
Yeah. Okay, as you mentioned, there's legislative components and administrative components to the county commission, as well as a variety of networking and coalition building. Talk a little bit about your time commitment. How would you make the time to serve fully, knowing that you require daytime meetings, evening events, and ongoing commitments? I can't remember where we are. Is it
I think it's me.
Isaac? David? Okay.
So serving on the city council for 12 years, I just got off in December of this last year. You know, I was talking to my wife, Julie, and I'm thinking, I was never home, and it was a part-time gig. But to answer your question, if I'm elected, I will resign from my position so I can give 110% to the citizens of Utah County. And that's my DNA. I did it as a councilman, and I'll do it as a commissioner.
And before I decided to run, my first call was to Derek Brown, Attorney General, to say, what do you think? Is this okay? And he said, yeah, and he looked at it and looked at the policy, and absolutely it's okay, please do it. So I would resign from my position as Assistant Attorney General and dedicate my full time to this job, just as I did when I left my law practice and took a large pay cut to serve in local government. It's not about the money, it's about the chance to serve, and this is a wonderful chance to serve. So I would leave my other career, and I would be all in on this one.
Okay, thank you for that. For the audience information, we asked each of the candidates to submit a question that they would like asked of them as our concluding question. And so we will begin with David Spencer. David submitted the following question. He says, over the past 6 years, Utah County approved a major property tax increase for the 2020 budget year. And as reported by KSL, at roughly 61% above the certified tax rate, and then approved another 48% property tax increase for 2025. The question is, what would you do to make Utah County government smaller going forward?
So I'm answering, okay. Well, the strategy innovation team is very key. That's where you go into county government and go through every department, and you'd start with the county commissioner office and go through that and make sure that if there's any fat or inefficiencies, you have to cut that. The bottom line is we need to make sure that we want small government. Government needs to stay in their lane, right? We own property. We have private property rights. They need to stay in their lane and make sure that they're not overreaching, just like the state legislature. They're overreaching their bounds, coming in and saying the cities have to change their code for zoning, for housing. That's wrong, absolutely wrong. That's big government. We want small government. Government shouldn't be, the citizens shouldn't even know that they're there because they're not bothering them. They're giving them the services, the police, fire, water, roads, and sewer, and that's it. Stay in your lane and small government. You can't keep raising taxes and hurting the people on fixed incomes in Utah County plus businesses, or though you're going to kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Isaac, the question you submitted for us to ask, and I think it's a very transparent one, in which you asked, how would you respond to any concern that you may be looking to favor your own hometown of Provo if you were to serve in this office?
Thank you. I have been asked that one quite a bit, so I thought I'd just bring it right to the fore. And I'd answer, that's just not me, first off. And you could say, well, it's easy to say that. And then that makes me want to read to you something from the mayor of Goshen. Isaac Paxman has been an invaluable ally for our regional interests. He doesn't just focus on the big cities. He works hard to ensure smaller communities stay on top of critical local issues. His approach is thoughtful, collaborative, and rooted in a genuine desire to help. I believe in him for county leadership because I know he will act with both skill and sincerity. It's the mayor of Goshen. I have no responsibility to help Goshen. I'll have a far bigger responsibility as a county commissioner, and I'll tell you, I'm motivated by that. As I've been to Genola City Council meeting, I felt this tug of, this is something county commissioners can do. We can help these smaller cities. That would be so great. So that's just to think that I would do this just to favor my hometown. It's not me. Ask others if you don't believe me who've worked with me for the last 8 years, and I think they'll assure you that's just not how I roll. I'll be looking to help the whole county, lift the whole county. So thank you for the question.
Yeah. Thank you, Isaac, for the question. All right.
Good answer.
Well, that brings our formal questions to a close. Thank you both so much, for participating on this. We've asked each to give a closing statement. I think that should be set at 90 seconds, timekeeper. And who went first on the opening statements? Do you recall? All right. So, Isaac, let's have you go first on a closing statement.
Great ideas we've heard on this campaign trail from so many candidates, and sorry Carolita couldn't be here, but this is a job interview. You're hiring someone for a job, and a lot of you have sat on job hiring panels, and we can hear lots of good ideas, but you have the chance to hire someone who's done essentially this job and has a lot of good references. Mayors from Saratoga Springs to Santa Quin who say this is a solid guy who acts honestly and with integrity and has done a great job. Someone who's been up at the legislature and pushed back. Someone who's been up at the legislature, and even when they said there's no money this year, year after year, suddenly our county's projects are getting the money they need. When we first went up there, they said, where have you guys been? There are other counties who have their act together, as Dave alluded to, and we can do that. And I'm in a position, since I already have these connections, I already have some respect with these local elected officials. They're supporting me, asking me to do this. We can get to work. We can go do this. So I'm asking you to consider hiring the person who's shown with their track record that they're proven, they're principled, they're ready to go. And so again, my name is Isaac Paxman, and I appreciate your being here. I look forward to working with you. We need to do this together. This is going to take a collaborative effort, and we do need to become one. And I've helped us become one on other issues. I'm ready to do it on more, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you, Isaac. David.
So I'm David Spencer, and I have a plan. And here's what I'll do as your commissioner. First, I will cut the commissioner's salaries, including my own, on day one. That's the right thing to do. Second, I will build a county transparency portal. You will see every vote, every trip, every dollar spent. Nothing hidden. It'll be an open book. Third, infrastructure before approval. We will stop rubber stamping growth we cannot support. No more high-density housing. We have enough. We will fight for Utah County's fair share at the legislature. Fourth, I will meet personally with all 24 cities, every mayor, every council, every community, because a fragmented county is a weak county. Fifth, I will go after all grants possible with no strings attached. Orem got 23 million. Can the county get 50 or 60 million? I think so. I have no ties to the county. My spouse does not work at the county. My friends do not work at the county. I am not in the inner circle. I'm running to break it. This is your moment to send a message that the Good Old Boys Network is over. The taxpayers are back in charge. Utah County belongs to the people, not the insiders. If you believe me, I'm David Spencer, and I hope I can get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Well, that brings our debate to a close for candidate seat B. And appreciate all of your time. Obviously, Stacy, Harvey, thank you also for being a part of our evening here, and and our timekeeper for keeping us on track. Thank you for your service. But most of all, thank each of you for participating in the democratic process by being a part of the community. You know, I've heard it said before that all politics is local. And it's really important that we as citizens feel that we have a voice and that you know you have a voice. And we're grateful that you'd show up and participate in that process. It's a great experiment, especially as we celebrate 250 years as a nation. What a great time to be alive and to be an American. So we appreciate you being here.